rendering of the original building. Again, giving you an idea of the relief and of the addition annex back here on the back side, allowing the main structure to still remain prominent. And then this is probably the best graphic that we have, which explains why we were really pushing the building back, because as you drive down Lake Avenue, we want to preserve as much of the integrity and vista and exposure of the original building, pushing this building back to allow this to remain very prominent. Okay.
Along that ground floor, you have rooms?
Yes. The idea is, and we have some floor plans in through here, since all of, with the exception of a few interior courtyard areas, probably about 3/4 of the first floor is actually all hotel rooms. Now there's a discussion that William brought up about this becoming a public entity zone or accessibility zone. We have no problem with that. Okay, so we will open this up and make it accessible to pedestrians.
Or retail?
Retail is at the moment is not part of the first floor.
Did you have conference rooms or something on the first
We
floor?
do have a few conference rooms on the first floor. They are actually on the courtyard side, because we actually want to bring those functions in on that level. Okay, and use the courtyard for those functions.
Do we see any signage?
As of right now, the signage for the new building has not been developed. Part of the reason for that is that signage design features need to be worked out and coordinated with the actual hotel company that will be brought on. Okay.
And that will be addressed at staff level when they have it? Or how are we going to look at the signage?
I have a question. I think that'll be probably later, but related to the front setback, and you know you're not meeting your setback requirement that's in the code. And do you have a point in your presentation where you explain why you're not meeting that? Okay, because that's the part of the presentation that I want to hear is why you're not meeting your setbacks and your other issues related to the site plan.
So getting very basic into the plans, and here's the first floor of the existing hotel, and a majority of all of the original spaces, the bar area, the restaurant, the main lobby, all of those functions are going to be maintained and kept in period style architecture. We will be modifying some of the interior services just to make them more usable, but again, keeping the character of the building. All of the primary support services for this hotel right here will be taken care of on the first floor of the annex. So again, pulling all that stuff into as much core of the design as we can. The first floor of the annex in Lake Avenue, South Lake side over here, secondary entrance use. So public, yes, everybody can come in, get access to the first floor from Lake Avenue. Primary entrance again is over here. Yes, we want the experience to be brought in through. Really, everybody will come in and be dropped off at when you first arrive, through the historic building, through and receive at the main check-in station, and then transfer over to this building. So it's, again, very subservient to this.
So all the valet is going to be on Lake Avenue?
The primary valet, yes, is over here, but we also have the designated valet system over here. So once you're checked in, we will have valet service that will come in, pick you up and drop you off along that side as well. So that does spread out some of the congestion, potential congestion when you've got guests at both of the buildings.
And then the guests will access through that bridge?
Yes.
That's the only
Yes.
access?
Well, once you're a guest, once you've checked in, okay, you've gone through that procedure, you have permission, and access, to this building from all of these, primary entrances into the building, so you're not, forced to come out, always go in and out through this way. And the second floor is really the primary, the start of the hotel rooms on the second floor of the historic building here, with the exception of this center gathering space, which is the way it functions currently. But this will also be one of the primary accesses in the building from this level directly to the pool deck. We have also arranged for the pool deck to extend into the courtyard of this, of the annex, so to be able to really create a combined zone for both buildings, sort of a shared common gathering space. Interior connection is through this connector, interior corridor here, so you'll be able to come up, go across, and get
So
access.
there's 2 pools, there's that
One pool, there's only a single pool, which is right here,
Sorry.
yes. These elements that you see right here, they're really cabanas, elements that we put in. Green area here
I
is,
guess that's what I was having trouble when I was looking at this, is where is the alley on this? Because you show the connector and
yes,
the.
the alley is right here.
Okay, so the cabanas are not in the alley, they kind of look like they're in the alley on the drawing.
No, this is the second floor, so you're up, you're one
Yeah.
floor, one story above that, yes.
Yeah, no, I know, but there's still a wall there, you know what I'm saying? Like there's, they're kind of over in the alley.
What's the surface of it technically?
We're looking at travertine pavers, so something very, very nice, very scale. We've also, for heat island and all that stuff, and some relief, we're proposing to do a synthetic grass collection system there.
Just to clarify, the pool deck is at what level?
It's at the second, so it's actually elevated. Okay. So, again, working with harmonious and efficient organization, what we have done, this kind of yellow line that you see right here is really the major building structure demarcations, where you've got large structures that are over here, multi-story buildings, the 5-story hotel, the 5 or 7-story condo, and then tapering down to more residential height structures
I'm
over on.
familiar with that.
Yes.
Good.
Okay. And at this point, Don, you want to talk about? Sure. Take us for just a moment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Don Scowen, Incorporated, landscape architect. As Mr. Waters stated, the landscape basically does, there wasn't any issue with it based on city arborists. And if you'd like me to go into detail about the landscape, I certainly can. But number 2, the preservation of natural conditions has been met based on staff's recommendations. 2, the screening and buffering has also been met, and the enhancement of residential privacy has been met based on staff's review of this. If you'd like me to review these in detail.
I don't need you to review it in detail, but why are there not more shade trees along the Lake Avenue? I know traditionally there have been palms in front of the Gulfstream, but that is a major pedestrian, and we are talking about how the secondary structure is not actualizing pedestrian activity as much as it could, and how many shade trees are along in front of the new annex, because you are setting things back so much that could accommodate more shade trees in front of the new hotel building. Are there 2 there?
Yes, well, we studied the existing landscape that's on that parcel is just west of the historic hotel, and there seemed to be about 3 trees that were suitable to be relocated.
No, I mean,
So
how
we don't wanna
many
replicate
shade
the art.
trees are there on
Lakeside,
on
2.
Lake Avenue? There's 2 shade trees. What are the species?
They're oak trees, they're
There's
substantial oak
oak.
trees. They're
And-
probably 12 to 15 inches of caliber.
Okay.
So they're massive anchor points to the annex that's there.
Okay.
And to answer your question before, the reason why we have palm trees is to really maintain the character of Lakeside in character of kind of what's going on around the neighborhood. It's predominantly palm trees, and
So are
we
those
want to be
oaks
consistent.
relocated oaks?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so they should be that size.
They're going to be substantial. They're probably, like I said, 12 to 15 inches in caliber. They're big,
Yeah,
substantial trees, and
that's
they're
what I was
about.
thinking.
They sit currently between where the new where the annex has been described, and in between basically that and the parking garage, right around where those existing structures are right now.
Okay, can you use a pointer?
Sure.
Show me where the big oaks are.
The first one's on the corner of Lakeside and Lake Avenue. The next one is in between the historic hotel and the annex. And then on this corner is the third one.
Okay.
So there's 3 anchor points to this whole thing. So the
Okay.
major trees that we could save, we saved.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. But again, and then there's also shade trees coming down along Lakeside, which basically goes into enhancement of residential privacy, as well as substantial shade trees along First Avenue, which also contributes to that condition. Screening and buffering, same thing. We really, I think it comes to a point where being able to see this hotel and not hiding it with shade trees is significant to the character of what's there already and what's along Lake Avenue. I'd like to be brief, so if you like me to
Do you have
describe it more.
any greenery on the second floor of the deck area?
There is greenery designated for the addition.
Yes. No, not the, well, call it.
On the second.
I'm calling it the deck area, the second floor, the pool area. To the,
Of the annex? Of the annex, no. There is on the addition around the pool area. But there is a substantial buffer along
do
the
we see it?
7-story
Or
condo.
you just, you're designating it, or is there?
There's a designated green space, but
Is
it's a
there a visual-
rooftop, basically a rooftop garden. Does that answer your question? Mr.
No. Well, it answers the question, I don't see it, that's what I,
This illustrates the first floor, this is illustrating the first floor.
It's on the
footprint.
second floor.
It's on the second floor.
I'm asking to see it on the second floor.
I don't have it illustrated in this
Okay.
plan.
And that's the answer. Good.
But there's a substantial buffer between the 7-story condo and the addition, which contributes to its screening and buffering.
So the green we see next to the condominium on the left, that's a gray.
Yes.
This is accurate, correct?
All right, what percentage of the code are you at minimum? Would you say you're 20% more than required?
The staff said that they were at 79% impervious, so they're. I think
21%. We're talking about the historic hotel, which has almost, which has about maybe 10% green space, even if that, around the perimeter. A substantial amount of green space, because we set this back off of Lakeside, which I think contributes to adding more green space, as well as buffering and adding green space along the 10-foot buffer along South Lakeside Drive, and then we've got, I think, 10 to 15 feet along First Avenue. And then again, good buffering between the 2-story parking garage and the 2-story apartment building inside the 7-story condo.
Is that that's a pedestrian connection between the garage and the new,
That's the pedestrian connection.
no, for
Oh.
the garage,
Oh, for the garage?
on
This
the
is
ground floor,
This is the entrance into the garage, or the vehicular entrance.
to the hotel to the,
I'm sorry.
see right there where the loading area is? Just
Garage.
Right there?
Yeah, that's an architect question, I think.
Yeah,
So-
let me go through it and address that if I could. So when we get into organization, site design, and how we're dealing with on-site circulation, this slide basically covers a multitude from emergency public access ways. What we want to point out in this zone, all these little red dots that you see are not skittles, but they are life access points around the building for emergency access or either ingress or egress out of the building for life safety. We've also coordinated work with Palm Beach County Fire Department and have established dedicated fire zones adjacent to each one of these structures in the main entrances. So
there'll be no parking where you have
in these
emergency parking?
cases, these are loading zones, temporary loading zones, so they're allowed a minimum of 20 minutes or 30 minutes, but it's not long term.
It won't be restricted fire parking?
Correct. Okay.
I'll be able to park there?
No, these spaces you will not. Everything that you see in between these, okay, so this white area that you see here is dedicated parking.
But the emergency
In the emergencies,
is no parking?
Correct. Okay.
Are you going to move the fire hydrant there on the bottom left?
On the bottom left, this one here,
Yeah.
correct. Yes.
That's represents it being moved.
Correct. So not only are we're moving this fire hydrant that you see here will be new to the property. We also have a new fire hydrant over here at this location. This is an existing fire hydrant at this location. There is a fire hose connection at the existing building, which we're going to maintain. So what this does is it actually expands the fire service around the perimeter, and by moving this, this also enhances some of the fire service capabilities within the site as well.
The connection to the parking garage from the new Gulfstream Hotel, how is that? Is that a pedestrian connection there? Or is that a
Are you talking
path?
about this?
Yes, just
Okay.
north of how does that connect?
Okay, this zone that you see right here, this is actually this is where we're placing the cooling tower for, that'll service the Gulfstream annex, okay, and then we have the loading dock. There is no physical connection between these two buildings,
Okay.
okay? So everything, if you're coming here, if you are in the condominium, okay, there's a dedicated walkway that will get you from this into this first floor on grade level parking, which is where the additional spaces at that level will be. There's also other back here in the back of the zone is where the additional on grade valley parking is. Okay? This structure that you see here, this is designed as what they call the speed ramp. Okay, because the constraints of the depth of property to put the parking structure here were really limited to how much physical space we're able to do. Okay, so this is it's truly a one-way up and one-way down, and because it's restricted only to valet drivers, there's control devices that will allow us to.
So the
control.
entire parking garage and there's no self-park?
The only self-park that we have is on the first level here, grade level, and this will actually all be.
And you would enter at the same level as the
Yes.
valet?
Yes.
The same way, in the same
Yes,
flow?
so the entrance to the parking garage on grade is actually over here, so
Okay,
it's separate
I see.
from the speed ramp, okay? So it's a one-way in and out.
For the floor. Where's the stacking for the valet in front of the historic hotel?
It's down here,
So
okay?
it's in your loading zone for
In the emergency vehicle.
Yes,
Okay,
so
that's fine.
there's two dedicated spaces here, plus the loading zone here, which provides enough physical space here for emergency egress. This is emergency vehicles, it's the same design here at this, and these three spaces are all dedicated.
And you guys have a management plan, that staff, they filed a valet management plan, or is that part of the traffic management plan that you all are requesting?
Not yet.
And keep in mind too that the valet areas on Lake Avenue, that is not city right of way, that's FDOT, and so the valet service there will have to be coordinated more than likely through us on their behalf. and there is a rental charge that FDOT would like to have for dedicated valet on Lake Avenue.
And we've already had
I'm sure they
discussion.
would.
We've already been in discussions with the FDOT and reviewed this, and they've already given us their consent, that they're okay with providing this
Is
part.
that right?
Huh?
This is for you, so that's a card.
We do have a direct email that says yes, that they approve this. I don't have the sign off letter, so. Pedestrian circulation, again, is highlighting and reinforcing the perimeter circulation, everything that you see here in blue. We also have indicated on the first floor, this is your courtyard, which will be accessible from within the Gulfstream Hotel.
Show me sidewalks.
Everything that you see in blue, okay, in this is all hardscape sidewalks.
And so the sidewalk is going to jog then when it crosses over the alley headed east on the first. On first.
Okay, so right here.
Yep.
Okay, yes, and what we've done, because even though this is already two-way traffic and people already do park on both sides of this, what we've agreed to do to help the traffic flow in this zone is we're actually going to widen the street in this area to bring the sidewalks onto our property to give an extra 5-foot width, accommodating for, again, the two-way traffic.
It doesn't address the two-way traffic on the east and west of that block.
Are you talking about down here in this zone?
Right.
No, because right now we're only
I
working with.
understand,
Yes.
but there's a problem.
Correct.
The city is aware of that if there's parking on both sides of the street and there's even car traffic headed either direction, it's not a two-way street. And if there's a boat ramp being used a block away, there's problems.
You're absolutely right, and the cars coming out that way can't obviously turn up South Lakeside. So they've got to go down to the
Next block.
next block, and the other way, it's going to be kind of tight around the park.
I think you're just between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah,
though,
there's
with
only
traffic
so much,
circulation
yeah.
with this
Yeah.
plan. I mean,
That's
it's an
what
urban
we're
area
supposed to be
plan.
addressing.
Right.
And
Go
so-
ahead, please.
Thank you. And then, again, really focusing on, we highlighted on this, off-street parking, really handled within the parking structure in through here. Loading zones, again, defined by the purple area, which we talked about, as well as the valet spaces, and then the interior traffic, and the alleyway, which we're proposing to actually widen to help this condition. Here, we're going to widen it, plus all of the hardscape that's along here will actually be traffic bearing as well, just in case we need something over the.
The 5 feet on the west side of the parcel for First Avenue, you're dedicating that as part of the,
No, we're keeping it, it's an easement.
it'll be an easement, and it is an easement for the sidewalk.
That's correct.
Okay.
Talking about off-street parking, or parking calculations, again, what we're required to provide, we have met that, and we've actually exceeded the minimum requirements for the development, which allows us to provide some of the additional parking for the adjacent building.
Which doesn't include the emergency parking.
Correct, we did not take any of that into account. Correct. Refuge and service areas, highlighted, all the service areas that you see within the building and on site are highlighted in these blue zones, okay? So a lot of the interior building services within the Gulfstream or over here. This is the location for the building transformers, project transformers, and building services, annex, cooling tower, loading zones. We have a dedicated dumpster enclosure here, adjacent part of the structure, which is again right adjacent to the.
How are you using the space between the garage and the annex one?
In this zone or up in here?
There.
In the green area, that's all landscape zone. So we're trying to pull as much landscape, soft.
What's there's no access to that area
No,
from the garage or the hotel?
It's pervious surface, I guess, for their requirement.
I
So
have
do
a
you think-
question
Sorry.
about parking. What are you doing for staff or employee parking?
that's also included within here. So we're going by the requirements that are laid out by the city. We've taken care of all of those.
I'm concerned about the half alley between the garage and the building. Is there, are you gonna put a fence or? You can have it as a purpose.
Over and through here.
Yes.
Yes, what we're doing is we're gonna build a physical screen wall across here to hide and conceal the structure.
What about closer to the sidewalk?
He's concerned about security.
There it is.
That's where he's getting at. Is there gonna be a septet issue because you're creating a little limitation alley between the two buildings?
Yeah.
And what's your sightline visibility with your landscape plan? So, I think that's what he's asking.
Again, we are gonna be doing, some lighting, security lighting within this zone. We do have,
Would
hotel
you
rooms
consider a wall or a fence?
to close this off in
Yes.
through here. We consider it, the real question is what, how we're gonna be able to treat that kind of dead zone. We
I
can't
would
add-
actually
add-
disagree with the fence, if you could, because for the septet reasons, fencing can actually be worse.
Right,
It can invite more crime because it reduces visibility, and if it's
yeah.
not.
I see it as an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think a more effective solution would be the use of heavier landscape to make it less accessible for pedestrians, to discourage, uses in there. There's all kinds of plants and different things that they can use. If you put some crown of thorns in there and some other things that are a little spiky, people aren't going to be like hanging out all day.
They'll still find a way no matter what.
And some of that's policing and
We don't
security.
want
Yes.
this.
For the public, would you mind, for the record, I didn't know what septet stands for? Not everybody's familiar with
I
that.
don't have the acronym in my head, but it's basically, it's design principles that are used to enhance security and safety around buildings. So you don't want too many high hedges and hiding spaces where criminal activity could be incentivized in a way.
Security enhancement.
Security enhancement.
All right.
Do you have the acronym? I can't remember.